What is going on, guys? My name is Tefty. Welcome to another episode of Destiny, specifically Destiny 2. I want to talk about some information that was dropped via IGN. IGN has basically an exclusive deal this month to be able to talk about Destiny 2 information, which is really cool. So they dropped a video that we're actually watching right now with no audio. We've got a Destiny soundtrack in the background, and Luke Smith was talking about it's the future, or the vision, I should say, of Destiny 2. Luke Smith and Mark Noseworthy both talking about it. Basically, they're talking about what their goals are for Destiny 2. It's very friend/community focused, which is obviously one of the reasons why Twitch works so well with Destiny. And it seems like they're double downing on that, which I think is great. It's a great video. You guys should definitely watch it over at IGN if you haven't already. Some interesting things that were brought up, though, is specifically loadout locking. They have the ability to lock loadouts for specific activities, which I think is cool, actually. I know there was some grumbling in the community about, like, oh god, they're taking away another thing. First they take away this, now they're taking away that. They change no more special than heavies, now it's power weapons, 2 primaries. Oh my god, what's going on, blah blah. You know, you guys got to give them a chance. Gotta let them make some decisions before you just jump down at them. So what could this possibly mean in terms of loadout locking? Trials of Osiris. That's like the first main one that came to my mind as soon as they said activity lockouts, or loadout activity locking. So with Trials, you can go in there and you can just swap your weapons as you want. You're getting sick of getting shotgunned, well, you can put on universal remote, or somebody's using icebreaker, you put on icebreaker, counteract, so on and so forth. That kind of stuff potentially is going to get locked out. We don't know to what extent activity lockout or loadout lockout means. It could mean just weapons. It could mean armor as well. It could mean your subclass as well. It could go all the way to subclass, armor, and weapons for the full complete package right there. Which I don't know. I don't know how I'd feel about that if your subclass was also locked out. I feel like weapons are a big thing that happens, that people end up kind of just countering and figuring out what they want to do when it comes to PvP. The other thing too is raids. I could definitely see raids having loadout lockouts type of thing happening. Some people might think immediately like, oh, so the whole raid have to use these weapons? I don't think it's actually going to work that way. This is pure conjecture right now. I think it's actually going to be a type of system where when respawn restricted happens, it restricts your respawn ability. And I think it's going to be the same type of thing where suddenly loadout is locked when the skull appears and says, sorry, no more easy mode, time to get serious about this. And I can see that happening in raids, because right now you go through, say, King's Fall, you have a specific loadout for the War Priest, you have a loadout for Golgroth, you have a loadout for the Sisters, and you have a loadout for Oryx. All of them usually vary, and sometimes vary heavily. It's because Spindle, Sleeper Simulant, Touch of Malice sometimes, all those things, like even a sword for if you're the Relic Runner. So those things are going to dictate quite a bit. And so I would say that they're likely going to do it in various spots of a raid where you would have a loadout locked. So you could see yourself jumping in the raid, you do the beginning part, maybe the loadout's not locked yet, and then suddenly respawn restricted for a boss. That means if you didn't equip a sniper and you really need a sniper, well, next time you wipe, you're gonna need to do that. One of my subs brought up Florida Gator. He said, well, what would like prevent people just from going to orbit and then coming back to change a loadout? And that's precisely what I'm talking about. Is like, I don't think it's gonna be the entire activity. I think it's gonna be specific points of the activity. So maybe in the beginnings of these raids, they're gonna have a thing where it says, no respawn restricted until you actually start the encounter, or no loadout lockout until the encounter is started. So everybody has to be like, hey, are we ready? Are we good? Everybody ready to do this? And then they say yes, and then boom, you jump in, you start the activity right there. So you're kind of prepared, relatively prepared. It really brings some interesting possibilities of people having roles. You know, you have your snipers, you have your grenade launchers, you have your rocket launchers, you have people who have specific roles with their weapons, which I think is cool. I also think it means that Destiny itself is moving away from DPS heavy mechanics. For the most part, King's Fall is very much a just burn things down, and then you get to Oryx and there's actual mechanic type of thing where orcs can only be affected by pure mechanics. And I think Destiny 2 really is moving towards a position of being mechanic heavy, because in the strike that we played during the reveal, it wasn't very spongy in terms of bullet sponge type of thing, which we've been used to as Destiny players. You know, Val Stark, classic example in year one, had way too much health. Then they nerfed him and tried to get it right and so on and so forth. Part of the problem also was Gjallarhorn was so strong. So them changing the loadout structure and potentially making loadout lockouts, I think is going to bring in an era of mechanic heavy Destiny rating and also experiences, which I think is great. I mean, maybe you have to shoot off certain pieces of armor of a boss. Once that armor is shot off, then they expose a core or something, then you have to do enough damage to the core, and then boom, you hit phase 2, you know? I know a lot of guys at Bungie are heavily influenced by Dark Souls as well, and Dark Souls is very much a phase 1, phase 2 type of situation where you have to learn the mechanics of the boss before you can pick and choose how you're going to do damage. So there could be a lot of influences from that, and if there is, I think that's great, because it makes really interesting boss fights, both to play and also watch when it comes to entertainment. So I could see stuff like that happening, where, again, you take the spider tank, you pop the legs off, and then expose the core. I was really kind of surprised when we didn't see more of that in Destiny 1, because that was so cool. First time you see the spider tank, and pop the leg, you see the core, you start doing damage, you're like, whoa, this is amazing. So if more bosses like that in the raids in general have those type of things that happen, or just stage changes, like in that giant Vex Gate Lord from the Inverted Spire strike, we see that there's 3 levels that happen. There's an actual first level, you fall through, you do another damage phase, and then fall through again to the very bottom. Like, that's really cool. I hope we see a lot more of that in Destiny 2, and I think that's one of the main reasons why we have 2 primaries, essentially a kinetic and energy weapon, and now a power weapon, because it's going to make more it's going to make more sense to use your weapons overall for specific mechanics in the fight, as opposed to being like, well, if you're not burning the boss down as fast as possible with as much DPS as possible, then you're just not useful in there. And I think they're trying to move away from that. Again, the thing of this video was that they are trying to be as inclusive as possible for as many people as possible. Destiny 2 is a reset, so a lot of people can jump in and be like, okay, I missed out on the things that were happening with Destiny 2, and it was people playing it, and it was exciting, and so on and so forth. This time around, they're getting people to come in with a fresh start, and they want to include people as much as possible. And they also said that it's going to be harder, or at least Luke Smith said that he's trying to make the game harder for the end game, I guess. What does that mean? I don't know. They also said that Atheon was the hardest challenge, and that was definitely not the case. So hopefully they're able to hit it on the head, because I personally would love a difficult Destiny 2 experience. I want people to get into it. I want them to experience a story. You know, they get pulled in by the story, and they have things that matter. The things that matter, bring them into the world and make them want to play more. Then you have loot. Loot is that drip that keeps happening that you're like, I need this loot. I need this. I need this. Weekly reset. I need to make sure I jump in. I need to grab these loot pool type of stuff. What keeps you coming after that is a difficulty to achieve in things that are only accessible in endgame. And that's something that, for the most part, has been missing from Destiny from the very beginning. Once you hit max light level, what was there to do aside from Iron Banner and Trials of Osiris with that max light level? They need to have real specific endgame type of things that can happen that require you to be max light level, and they need to have loot associated with it as well. I know some people are going to be like, well, there's a lot of people who are not going to be able to get that loot, but that's the thing about having that kind of endgame loot, is that it's special. They need to make sure it's special so people can collect it. People can be collectors in the game and achieve those things. Yeah, which also brings kind of a thing to the loot pool being locked in terms of perks. I'm gonna make a separate video on that, because I haven't actually talked about my full opinion about that on YouTube. So that'll come in another video, but essentially, as long as there's a ton of loot, then it's gonna be okay. If there's minimal amount of loot, then we got a big problem, which I don't think they're gonna do that. One final thing, actually 2 things. So again, IGN got some great stuff coming right now. You should definitely check them out. They did the farm preview right there, which is really cool looking. And then today they released the Bungie's vision for Destiny 2. So tomorrow they're gonna have our first impressions. I don't know exactly what that means. PvP reveal something, maybe a new game mode, which would be great. I'd love to see a new game mode. Developing the story of Destiny 2, so we get to hear more about the story. Closer look at the Sentinel Titanal. I'm very excited about that because I think that looks so cool. You can be able to pop the Ward of Dawn and also have the Sentinel Shield, Titan America. And then another PvP reveal. Again, I'm not really sure what PvP reveal is going to be in there. I hope it's really interesting. And I mean, I've loved Destiny's PvP up to a point, and then the meta shifted, and then I now have zero interest in playing Destiny 1's PvP. Destiny 2's PvP I'm very interested in, so I really hope they hit it on all fronts. Then we got the Sounds of Destiny. The beta's live. That's going to be super exciting. Closer look at combatants. Peripherals. Not sure what that is. Localization. Destiny. Destination Explored. That's going to be exciting. Oh my god. I'm probably going to be European Dead Zone, most likely. So we're going to see European Dead Zone in the flesh. Another PvP reveal. I mean, there's three PvP reveals. Creating Exotic, so that'll be cool to see their process and all that. And then ask them anything at Bungie on the 28th. Very cool. So the TWAB also dropped today, and it talks about the beta. So in the beta, 100% we're going to get the Homecoming mission, just as we played at the D2 event and at E3. We're going to get to play Countdown, Enter the Crucible, the Battle of the Guardians, in a brand new mode, attack or defend the base. Countdown's really fun, guys. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait for you to play it. And then Control is coming back as well. Original standard for Crucible combat, get to play in control the zones, blah, blah, blah. Oh, on another new map built with this objective in mind. So we get a new map for Control. I actually didn't read that. Very exciting. So we get a particular map for Countdown and then a new map for Control. Great. Then we get to play the Inverted Spire, strike at the heart of the Vex stronghold, bring 2 willing allies, or let matchmaking introduce you to Fireteam Guardians. The Inverted Spire is a great strike. It plays like a mini raid. I'm very excited for you guys to play it because it feels big, it feels expansive, it feels by the time you're finished with it that you went on a journey. And I think that is what you need to do when you play Destiny. New subclasses, new fighting style for each class will be at the ready. Choose from Dawnblade, Arcstrider, or Sentinel Titan. Very excited to play Sentinel, also Arcstrider as well, because I didn't get to play Arcstrider E3 because the lines were insane, unfortunately. So we don't know what the Void Warlock is going to be. That's probably going to be saved for maybe the PC beta or the end of August as a reveal. And then this is big. For 1 hour on Sunday, July 23rd, basically the end of the beta, we're inviting you to the new to tour the social space in Destiny 2 starting at 10 a.m. Pacific. So at 10 a.m. Pacific time on Sunday, you get to be in the farm for 1 hour, kick the ball around, befriend a chicken. Obviously, they're going to have a bunch of stuff turned off, but that's pretty cool, guys. I can't wait. That's super exciting. Let's see. Is there anything else? Oh yeah, you get an emblem too. So definitely play the beta, guys, because you're gonna get a cool looking emblem right there. I love how they're setting up these emblems. Dig it. Super, super cool. In case you're wondering also, again, 18th to the 20th, early access for PS4 on the beta. 19th to the 20th, early access for Xbox. Then 21st to the 23rd of July, open access. Anybody gets to play. You don't have to have a pre-order code. And then August, at some point, we get a beta for the PC. I'm guessing it's going to be late August, personally. Let's see. Yes, that's it, guys. That summarizes basically what I want to talk about. Very exciting. I can't wait to see more information from IGN and what they're going to be dropping here. I thought it was pretty cool, this video. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely check it out. They got a lot of great stuff in there. So that's it for me, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'll have more video content coming soon in the future. But as you know, I'm a full-time streamer, so stream is my focus. I make videos when I can for you guys. Hit the like button, sub to the channel if you want more content. Also check me out on twitch.tv/TeftyTeft, and also follow me on twitter.com/Teft, T-E-F-T, because I tweet stuff, animals, you know, cats. Later, guys. Deuces.